So, Mark, what are you testing today?
Well, today I'm testing how long a particular piece of content holds a person's interest. Okay, so go ahead, let's send in the first test subject.
Okay. Hey, you can come on in.
Excellent, good, let's begin. Now, all I want you to do is pick up this piece of paper when I say go and start reading it, and for as long as it holds your interest, and then set it down. Got it? Go. Wait, what? Where'd you go? I'm gonna have to throw out that result. All right, next. All right, look, this is very simple. All I want you to do is when I say go, you pick up that piece of paper and you read it for as long as it holds your interest. Got it?
Got it.
Okay, go. What the heck?
Hey, Mark, how's it going? Did you get some good data?
Nothing. I got nothing. When the test subjects just disappear, I can't time them.
Guess what? Time on page may not be the best way to evaluate the effectiveness of your content. Here's why. Mark, many companies these days invest a lot in content for their sites. How can they be sure that the content is effective, that it's worth what they're investing in it?
Well, if you have content that's meant to drive people toward a conversion, such as a sale or a sign up or a download, then you should have goal tracking set up in your analytics so you can attribute a conversion to a person having viewed a particular piece of content.
Okay, but a direct conversion isn't always the goal of content pages, right?
No, it's not. I mean, content can have a lot of other uses. For example, we publish a lot of authoritative database studies, and we're also in a business where it takes a lot of touches for someone to become a customer. Now, it's rare for someone to read one piece of our content and then immediately get in touch about doing business with us. So much of our content, such as our studies or even these videos, is meant to build brand awareness and to reinforce our reputation with potential customers.
Well, if that's the goal of the content and not a direct conversion, how can you know if the content is doing its job?
Well, there are a number of ways. I mean, you can track general brand lift online. How many people are talking about your brand and how positive is that talk? And if your content is effective, you should be seeing more branded searches for you too.
But those don't tell you anything about the effectiveness of a particular piece of content.
Right you are. And that's why you've got to look at other things for that.
Like what?
Well, for me, if a content page's main purpose is to build our brand's authority and reputation, then the most important goal I can have is for people to actually read the content.
So, does that mean you look at time on page stats and analytics?
Well, that would seem like the most obvious metric, but time on page can deceive you, especially for evaluating how much a single page is actually read.
So, how so?
Well, many people don't realize that Google Analytics only records time on page if someone goes from that page to another page on your site. So if someone lands on one of your pages, reads it for any amount of time, and then leaves without going to another page, they get recorded as a session, but with 0 time on page. Now, since average time on page, the metric that Analytics displays, is calculated by total time recorded divided by the number of sessions, all those 0 time visits cause an artificially low average time for any individual page.
So what's a better way then to figure out if people are actually reading your content pages?
Well, as it turns out, there are third-party solutions you can code or plug into your site that will give you an actual time on page for all visitors. But my favorite add-on is scroll depth.
Scroll depth?
Yes, just as it sounds, scroll depth is a measurement of how far down a page a visitor actually got. Now, obviously, the farther down the page a visitor scrolls, the greater the chance that she read more of your content, and therefore it had a chance to do the job you wanted it to do.
So how can we measure scroll depth then?
Well, it isn't built into Google Analytics, but there are third-party plugins that create a Google Analytics event trigger when a reader reaches a certain point on the page. Now, you can see those events in your analytics. In my post on Marketing Land, I show how to use one of those plugins and how to extract the scroll depth metrics for any of your pages.
And we'll put a link to that post in the episode notes. Thanks, Mark.
Great. Now, have you got my next test subject ready?
Oh, he's ready, all right.
Well, as you can see, Eric, I've come up with a foolproof way to make sure my test subjects don't disappear on me again.
It's brilliant, Mark. Now you can really make sure you can measure how long they remain interested in the content.
Exactly. Okay, let's begin. Test subject 3, All I want you to do is when I say go, pick up that piece of paper and read it for as long as it holds your interest. Ready? Go.
I can't.
You can't what? What, you can't read?
No, I can read. I can't pick up the paper.